Welcome to Moto Mondays by Chicago Sports Podcast, where the dirt flies and the engine scream. I'm your host with the most, Tracks, and I've got a legend by my side, Larry Witmer, the voice of Redbud and Tracks all over. How you doing, Larry?
Man, this is a full throttle night. Let's get on it. Let's go. Got some battles. Brought the heat. Let's get this show ripping.
Yeah, let's go, man. I'll tell you what, man. With decades of dominance of motocross under his belt, tonight we're bringing you a live lineup that's firing on all cylinders. We got Jeff Beaver in the building, the editor at large behind Whiskey Throttle MX with over 100,000 subscribers, knocking on 200,000's door. We got Grant Harlan tearing it up with the 450 SX with the speed and the grit, and Tyler Vore, the off-road titan, taking on the ISDC from Chile to Spain. All three on one show. Wow, guys, let's kick it off and let's get right into gear. But before we do that, I just want to say one thing, folks.
We're not worthy! We're not worthy! We're not worthy! We're scum! We suck!
Oh man, I'm excited, dude. You guys don't know, man. I barely had a wink of sleep last night. It was bananas. It was like Christmas morning all over again. So, all right, so let's go, man. Larry, you want to kick things off, brother?
Sure. Hey, Jeff. Hey, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me on, man. It's a pleasure.
You know, Trax just said you had 100,000 plus subscribers or watchers on that. That's a huge audience. How are you guys keeping it ripping for so long? And what are you going to keep to do to keep moto breathing the way you guys do at Whiskey Throttle?
Just grinding, man. And, you know, we meet all the time and have meetings about strategy and what we're going to do. And I kind of just stumbled into this. I had never had any intention of being part of motocross media or anything like that. It just kind of out of necessity. I met David in 2019 and kind of became friends, and then just started helping him out. And then just through necessity and some manpower changes we had, I just started kind of messing with stuff and ended up picking up the social media, and I ended up taking it over. And so I just started playing with the algorithm and figuring out what's working. Basically, the style I like, you know, I've been watching moto for 42 years, and I always really like the Crusty Demons of Dirt, Moto Triple X stuff. So I try to keep that stuff kind of alive, right? So my edits, I try to make them, I don't put all the fancy foo-foo crap in there and all that stuff. I don't care about that. I color it up, but I want it to look edgy. I want it to look raw, and kind of what we've become known for this last year is kind of, if you want to see what's really going on behind the scenes on race day, you go to Whiskey Throttle Media. And so, that's really what we've done. I mean, I think last year we had 165 million views on Instagram. I mean, it was nuts. We went from, I think Anaheim won last year. We started at 50,000 followers, and today we're at 178,000.
That's unbelievable. Trax, what do you got?
I'll tell you what, man, that is growing. That is straight up bananas. Like I said earlier, I cannot believe it, because I've been in the building for a couple years now, and, you know, I'm just now dipping my toe into the water as far as, you know, ball sports and getting out of ball sports and looking into, you know, motocross and all that. And I'll tell you what, it is a lot of fun. It is crazy. I mean, I've always been around it, but to see what you guys have done in such a short period is just straight up phenomenal. I mean, I can't believe it. Like, you look from week to week to month, and it's just booming, man. And the guys that you have on your show, it's just unreal. And I mean, you know, you go all the way from social media to the actual podcast, whatever. There's just so much content, so much going on, man. It takes a village to get something like that done. How many guys are working around the clock with you, Jeff?
So there's Pingree, obviously, he's the captain of the ship. It's the pirate ship over here at Whiskey Throttle Media. So Ping's the one-legged captain right now, and then me, Ethan McDowell. He's our new filmer, and he's also the producer of the Whiskey Throttle show. And then we got Adam Persitza, who's a contributor, test rider. Brent Bowser, who does all our audio podcast stuff. He lives up in Bakersfield. And then we've got Cody Moore, and then just a bunch of cool people that ride bikes for us. Like Mike Metzger right now has one of our bikes. Bo Manley is part of the crew. He has one of our bikes. Talon Hawkins, who just recently retired, is riding one of our bikes and doing stuff. So we got just like a cool crew of dudes that get down. But as far as the core group, it's me, Ethan, and David.
That's awesome. Yeah, I grew up in Visalia. I'm very familiar where Bakersfield's at, man. Not too far, about an hour just south of us. Obviously, I'm out here now, but you know, like I said, you've talked to some heavy hitters, man. What's the most unexpected thing a rider's ever told you, Jeff? That you could say in confidence, obviously.
Get the hell out of my pit. The first time I ever met Brian Degan.
Get the hell out of my pit.
Yeah, which is funny because we get along great now. But yeah, the first time I met him, I was videoing. It was the day Hayden went pro at Ironman, and they were rolling the bike out. Well, I've been working in oil and mining for 30 years. So if you're not at work at 4:30 in the morning, you're a loser, right? So yeah, I was at the track before the sun came up, you know, eating my breakfast, and I cruised the pits, and I saw, I think it was Duff, I can't remember, but rolling the bike out, and it was number 438. So I'm sitting there taking a video, and I remember distinctly hearing Brian say, you know, oh man, this thing's probably already social media, and the mechanic going, no, man, I built it in the truck. This is the first time it's been outside, and here I am standing about 50 feet off to the side filming it. And I see Brian look over, and Brian smiles. He goes, hey, how you doing? I go, good. Now, you know, I'm wearing my Whiskey Throttle shirt, and he kind of cocks his head sideways a little bit and goes, Whiskey Throttle, huh? And I go, oh shit. And he says, yeah, I used to be big fans of you. This was right around the time of the bike claiming incident, and Ping and GL voiced their opinions on some things that didn't quite line up with the Degan camp. And well, that was like my first official assignment with Whiskey Throttle, dude. And I just getting the 3rd degree read by the general of the metal militia, and I'm sitting here, how the hell did I end up in this situation? Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it. You know, so he didn't honestly tell me to get out. He was actually completely professional about it, but you know, he read me the riot act about it. And I was like, man, this sucks. So that was probably the most interesting conversation I've ever had with a rider. And I'm glad to say now that when I see him, I can go talk to him about pretty much anything, and confidential. We have a pretty good relationship, and whatever he tells me, I keep it to myself. But he's been actually a pretty good guy to bounce things off of with media, because he's such a, you know, smart guy with business and obviously the social media game, you know, and we're right around the same age, so it's kind of interesting to pick his brain. So yeah, very interesting guy, but that definitely has been the most interesting conversation I've ever had with any other riders.
That leads into my question with you too, Jeff. In 2019, you know, at Redbud, you brought the Whiskey Throttle show there, and we introduced the Laraco Leap beer. And of course, Grant was there hosting it along with Ping, you know, David Pingree. They brought Mike Laraco in, and the thing kind of went off the rails a little bit. I came down, brought more beer, and I got in there on a video with them, and they're already on their way. And how do you keep the wheels rolling in those guys? They're so high intense. Ping is such a great guy, but man, those guys are they're
we have a podcast called Code Red, and that was the code word for GL when we were doing the show, because GL likes to have a drink. And you know, this was a little before my time, before I came in officially, but that was the safe word, I guess you would say, for the Whiskey Throttle show. When GL was getting lubed up as Code Red, it was time to water the drinks down a little bit. So yeah, the fact that you gave GL carte blanche for beer at Redbud, did he end up in Lot B that night?
Yes, it extended down a Lot B, and I was down there, and it was a little, you know, a little bit of messing around, having fun, you know, racers having fun.
Hey, you know, if we can get the owners of Redbud to pay for it, if they can pay for me and Gio and Ping to come out, I'll film them and just let us loose in Lot B on Friday night. I guarantee you it'll be world-class content.
Oh boy, that might have to be censored.
Well, actually, we'll probably have to give Ping the camera and let me and Gio loose, because when I tie one on, it gets pretty damn funny too. You ask anybody ever went to Farley Castle with me and Ping and everybody a couple years ago, I can get down.
Good stuff. Tracks.
You know what? Pick a motocross legend, any era. Who'd you love to sit down with, and what's the driving, behind that choice?
You know, I'd want to say Jim Pomeroy, because he died, in that Jeep accident years ago. But correct me if I'm wrong. This is getting way back, but he was the first American to win a Grand Prix in Europe. And just, I would like to pick his brain about what that was like. Lackey was the first one to win the championship, and then Laporte followed him a week later with the 250 title. Marty Moats won the GP over here. He would be another good one. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us. But yeah, I always just like the story of Pomeroy. Just old school moto. Just a badass. I think Pomeroy would be the one I'd want to sit down. And there's probably a lot of people going, Jim, who? And that's the one thing that drives me nuts about this sport is, you could go to baseball or football and you could have a newbie reel off the history of the sport and their team going back 100 years. And now you can have Damon Bradshaw walk by you in the pits of the Supercross, and the kids have no idea who it is. So
I mean, Pomeroy, where Botaka was made, in that place, they burned it down that night.
Yeah. Pomeroy. I think Pomeroy would have been a damn good story. And then if I had a backup one, it would just to see how long I could last with Bob Hanna.
That's good stuff, man. Hey, what keeps you motivated? I mean, social media beats so many people up and this and that. Sometimes you got to ignore it. I mean, you guys got such a great focus with Whiskey Throttle. How are you going to keep that passion burning throughout these upcoming years to keep Throttle, keep Whiskey Throttle at the front of the pack? That's really something I'm really curious about.
Well, burnout in anything you do is going to happen, whether you're racing, doing what I do for a living in oil and mining as a consultant. If you do it too much, you get burned out. So, we actually had some talks about that today, and it's, having people we can count on, like Ethan, getting him trained up on doing what we're doing, and he's picking up on it quick. But, I enjoy going to all the races, but being gone every round and being a married man, you can see where that's going to end up. I'm going to end up divorced, right? So, we're, kind of splitting it up and taking some time away and letting the 20-year-old kid who's killing it get out there and have some fun, and getting in, just getting away from it enough to where you don't get burned out. Like I'm going to do every round from here to the end at Las Vegas, and I guarantee you by the time Saturday night comes in Las Vegas and everybody wants to go to those parties, I'm going to be 49 on Friday. I'm going home, taking a shower, and going to bed at 11 o'clock at night, dude. I've got no interest in doing any of that. I'll have had my fill of moto for a while. And if you watch our past history the last couple of years, for about 2 weeks after Vegas, we don't post very much. It's that's our off season. Got to recoup a little bit.
Yeah, it's good to hit the recharge button, man. I'll tell you what, but keeping a platform like yours on top takes guts, man. What's the hardest hurdle that you guys have had to overcome?
Figuring out what people like and what people don't like. And what people like is the behind the scenes stuff. If you go look at our page, the stuff I do behind the podium, it gets millions of views a weekend, and the TV camera does it, but you only got so much time for one cameraman and all his assistants. I can run around with my phone and knock that out in 10 seconds and be up and running. But yeah, it's a grind. It's an absolute grind. You have to be committed to it, and I try not to do anything half-ass, so I very much enjoy media. I never thought I'd be a camera nerd. I picked up a camera and I was like, oh, what the hell? How's this work? But again, it was kind of necessity, and I started filming, and dude, I fell in love with it, dude. I think about it all the time. It is so badass capturing that shit. When, pardon my French, but if you capture a slow-mo shot of somebody throwing a whip, like that video I sent for Grant of him, pumping up the crowd over Rocco's leap. That's awesome, dude. And I'm gonna have that forever. And if we didn't have the media, only the people who are at the race would see it, and it's just a damn shame. So we get it out all over the world. I mean, we've got followers places I've never even heard of. So it's sick, and and it also gives me one of the things I like about it is it gives me a chance to show guys that wouldn't otherwise get a voice, right? I can go find I'm free to do whatever I want. I can go find a privateer in the pits working out of a van. And I've done that before. Just go find a guy sitting in the back of a crappy old Ford van and go talk to him. Hey, who are you? And it may only get 5,000 views. I don't care. It made that dude's day. Right.
Oh, yeah.
So do stuff like that is cool. Anytime you can kind of show the behind the scenes or give somebody a voice. I like doing that. I do enjoy that. That makes it worth it.
Yeah, that connection with people, and that's one thing I appreciated with you in the tent, because I'm a newbie. I just got there, and you're just like, cool as the other side of the pillow, man. It was just no big deal at all, It was just like, if you need a hand or anything, let me know. And I was like, cool, man, this is great.
Yeah, everybody in that media tent's like that. I mean, hell,
I
didn't get my credential until the beginning of last year, and there's guys like Mike Emery and Chris Post and those guys, and Adam Maro, or however he says his last name, I forget it, but those guys have all been around 15, 20 years, and Brown Dog, and so they all kind of showed me the ropes. And I'm a big, loud, brash dude running around with my chicken with my head cut off, and so they kind of helped. Hey, dude, if you do this, you probably won't be around long. You know what I mean? Kind of showed you the ropes, the do's and don'ts and stuff like that. And so I just try to pass that along, right? And now I'm they got their front row thing, like, which is with the top tier media. You got to be kind of up there, one of the big boys to get that, and they put us in that category this year. And so we've obviously earned our keep, but pay respect to those guys, and then also look out for the new guys, and make sure that they're not doing something where they put themselves in harm's way. Because we all seen what happened to Chase Curtis at Dallas. He was just cruising over to a spot he was wanting to go film, and what was that? Henry Miller came off the track, and Chase was in the hospital and getting his leg reworked for a month. So I always try to look out for the new guys, and just if you have any questions or anything, and I still ask questions of those guys all the time, but. Yeah, everybody there's pretty chill. There's not too many cool guys in that tent.
So last lap, Larry, what you got for him, buddy?
Man, I just love your passion. No doubt. The best wishes to you guys at Whiskey Throttle. Keep it going. David Pingree, man, being a champion, and and Grant and all your crew, man. Thanks for all your passion. Keep it rolling, buddy.
I appreciate it, man. And I can't wait to come back to Redbud next year. I told my wife's really patriotic, and I said, you missed out. You've got to see this place. It's unreal.
Oh,
get up to the tower, man. So
I will. I'll definitely come by and see you next year.
All right. And next up on deck, we've got Grant Harlan. He's in the hot seat right now, 450 SX. While he's getting in place, let's watch a highlight reel that was just created a little bit ago. So by Mr. Weaver. So let's check this out.
That'd be cool.
140 ripping.
That was awesome. That was so cool. That was I love those the view. It right now, Larry, Grant's in the hot seat with us. 450 XS, 7 at Daytona, 8 at Detroit in 2021. You're flying out there, man. You're freaking ripping it. How do you hold that pace race after each race, man?
Honestly, I'm one of those guys that like my speed, I guess, isn't, the fastest out there, but I like to find something that's pretty good and hold it for a majority of the race. So, my opening couple laps, maybe not super quick, but able to pick guys off towards the end of the race because I can kind of hold on to my pace for the whole moto.
That's awesome, man.
At Pala was probably your best outdoor performance in the 450, 7th overall on 9.6. That's the great. And a week ago last, I was looking for great things for that number 40 Rock River, and you went to the outhouse with that crash. Tell us about the highs and lows that you feel during those events.
Yeah, man, that was a bummer. Came around that Talladega sweeper there and just lost the front a little bit, and kind of was on like the blind spot of that roller up there. And I looked up, and honestly, from where I was at, it looked like guys were coming where I couldn't really move. But after watching videos back, like I probably could have gotten out of the way a little bit more. But yeah, that was a bummer. Ended up injuring my lower leg pretty good. So it's been sitting on the couch trying to heal up from that.
Yeah, it looked pretty catastrophic for sure. I mean, they got the good footage in that, unfortunately, because, probably watch that, like I say, and, just replaying like from another bad crash of Alessi back in the 2005 era. He has never watched that to this day when he got ragged all and run over. But, man, I love your passion. Good stuff. Tracks, you got a question for him.
Yeah, man. So walk us through your training. Like I'm all about training, attention to detail, getting it in, making practice harder than, and in Chicago sports, you talked like the 85 Bears and all those guys, right? And I know you guys train really hard and everything. So walk me through what it's like, your training regimen, what you have to do to climb those hills, to get on that bike that weighs probably more than you, bro. How do you do all that, man? Keep it under you, and what keeps you razor sharp through those showdowns that you got, bro?
Honestly, like during the year, the training isn't like super intense. I guess the kind of end of October to January is where we really hit things hard with like the super long bike rides, the sprints and everything, a lot of motos and weights, obviously. But like right now during the year, kind of just doing a lot of recovery stuff on top of the motos during the week on the bike, just to kind of stay mentally focused on being able to ride a dirt bike, but not overwork our bodies so that when we show up on the weekends, we have nothing in the tank.
That makes sense. You want to be fresh and, not beat yourself up off and get yourself recharged. Yeah, I get that, man. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that, man.
Now, Grant, I've done like over 10,000 gate drops racing in my career. And one of the things I always talk about with kids I train and talk about their mental capacity when they're sitting on the starting line and the positive thoughts. What do you think about when you're sitting there getting ready to go out against the best riders in the world?
Honestly, there's not a whole lot of thoughts. I think the best thing you can do is try and just be in a positive mindset. And even if that isn't any thoughts, just positive attitude. You don't want to be sitting on the gate being negative and having bad thoughts of what could happen or, man, I hope, you gotta know what you want and just be in a good mood. I think being positive and being happy on the gate is probably the most important thing you can do.
Great answer. Love it. Positivity.
Yeah. And to blank out and just keep it, they say when you're in your head, you know, as far as sports go, then you just, you know, basically you want to stay out of your head. Think long, think wrong. If you're not, if you're thinking, you're in a bad spot. Just I like what you're saying here. Some of this stuff resonates, you know, it's like a transferable skill, if you know what I'm saying. So this is all good stuff, man. But tell us about a race that you'll never forget, man. The one that defines your story.
One that defines my story. Honestly, like I would probably say 2022 Paula 2 to finish off the nationals that year. I was in my van driving all of them and wasn't having a stellar year, so to say, but was just grinding it out and wasn't planning on racing Paula because it was the last race of the year. I was living in Texas. Like I wasn't going to drive from Indiana, which was the weekend before, go all the way out to California to race one round and drive home. So was going to skip that one and decided to hit up Chris Kiefer and see if he had one of his, you know, test bikes for me that I could race. And he was like, yeah, which one do you want? So I grabbed this Honda. It was like 105 degrees out, 110 degrees out for the race, and rented a pickup truck. Didn't have a toolbox, nothing like that. Showed up with a gear bag, rented a pickup truck, slept in that for a night, and showed up to Paula and went 12-11, I think, for my best result ever outdoors. So that's probably the most defining race, and which kind of led to me racing 450 Supercross and kind of being on the career path that I am now.
Great story, man. You know, I lived a privateer life. It isn't easy. And you're with Rock River now. That's got to be a little bit more enjoyable. Is Mike DeClose still, you know, guiding the team, or he's got a general manager? And tell us, you know, give an insider on your love with Rock River and the Yamahas. Those are great bikes.
Yeah. So after that 22 season, I went to Club MX and raced World Supercross with them on the 450 and decided to go buy myself 2 Yamahas and was going to race 450 Supercross out of my van and was talking to Brad Behrens with FXR, and I guess Chiz had gotten the HEP ride and Rock River was looking for another 450 rider that year to take to the races. And I was like, heck yeah, dude, better than being out of the van, you know, have access to parts and the rig, semi, all that kind of stuff. So went ahead, did that. And honestly, like I've worked with Mike quite a bit over the years, even, you know, back in the amateur days, like 2012 on YZ85s. And these days we don't chat too much. Haven't actually seen him at the races, but you know, I've had some phone calls, 1 or 2 of those with him over the last 3 years. But usually Bobby Fischer goes to the races for him. And last year, Conrad Eigenman with Gizmo Mods came on board and has been a huge help.
Yeah, Mike is still loves moto. Spent a little more time at the lake, but still his passion runs deep. He used to be pretty fast back in the day too. So pretty cool stuff, and glad you're enjoying life at Rock River.
Hey, man, I got a question for you about tracks, man. If you could build the perfect track, what would that thing look like? Walk us through it.
Dude, I ride the perfect track every Tuesday at Paula, California.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I love it. I love it out there.
What do you like about it?
I might be the only guy, but I'm a fan.
Do they run the 85s or the big bikes, or they segregate them out there at Paula?
They've started to split them up. I know before like the national, it was kind of a free for all, and a couple of the pro riders, you know, were running into some issues, you know, with the little bikes, so they split it up 40-20, which has been pretty nice. Keeps the crowd on the track a little bit lower, usually during the day, and still get time to do our motos, which is nice.
Man, you had some great years of racing at Loretta's. You started there on a 50 back in 2010 on a 7-8 career in 2019 in the pros. Never won a championship. You had a lot of great success. I was announcing when you first came on board. I kind of remember you, but are you What's your best memory? And are you going back as an amateur to get your title?
Oh man, honestly, I went, I think in 2021 with my buddy just to hang out and mechanic for him, and I had way more fun that year than I did ever racing. Think I think the years I raced it, I just either too much pressure on myself from myself or my parents. Obviously, it's a huge commitment to go, and everyone makes a big deal about how you have to do good there to get any help. So I think my years racing, I put too much pressure on myself to actually enjoy the week there. And like I said, the year I went and wasn't racing, I had a blast. Could actually hang out and enjoy the week of Loretta's.
Are you going to go back when you get turned? Quit your pro career, go back and get the title that you feel you deserve, or are you just going to call it good?
I might. We'll see.
We'll put you on the Whiskey Throttle bike.
I mean, if Whiskey Throttle's supporting it, I'll go.
There you go.
Okay.
Let's make it happen. That's gonna be awesome.
Oh yeah.
Are we getting a little bit of the 11 herbs and spices right now? Are we hearing some breaking news, guys, here on Chicago Sports Podcast from Whiskey Throttle? What's going on, guys?
There's always a chance. If the money's right, I'll be there.
Hey, so is Jeff really? I'm sorry, man. Harlan, is this basically like one thing that you just said right now? You just was talking about slowing down, enjoying the moment. There's a little tyke out there that sees you on the 450, goes, man, I want to be fast. I'd be like, Harlan, I want to rip it up. Is that like one thing that you could tell them? Is just have fun with it and just take your time, enjoy the moment, not too much. Put too much pressure on yourself, or what?
Yeah, I mean, putting too much pressure on yourself to succeed can be a good thing sometimes, but it can also, you guys were talking about burnout earlier. Like, it's so easy to burn out when you put the pressure on yourself, and if you don't hit those expectations, it's tough. Like, I feel like growing up, not that my family did okay, but a lot of kids you go up against, do a little bit better, go to these facilities. Like, I came from Hawaii, just rode my dirt bike on the weekends for fun on the 50s, and then ended up going Loretta's in 2010 and did okay. And honestly, like, I didn't really start taking it seriously till probably 2018, 2019, when I started doing the fitness stuff and riding at a facility and doing the motos during the week. And I wish I would have taken those years up until then to either be more serious about it or enjoy it more, and not be as stressed out about it.
Gotcha.
Good stuff, man. Hey, Double D says hi, my announcing buddy, and keep up the great work.
Yeah,
Will
man.
do. Thank you.
I got one more quick question and I'll let you go. And then I can't wait to talk to Tyler. I've worked with Tyler's dad for 11 years, almost 12 years out at the steel mill. I've heard all kinds of cool stories, but now I get it straight from the horse's mouth. So really quickly, Harlan, I want to know, what's the wildest thing that you've like done from the saddle, man? Like, something that just screams motocross, like the craziest thing that you've ever remembered doing.
Thing I've ever done. Honestly, I don't do anything too crazy cool. I just, man, the gate drops and I kind of just grind it out for the motos. I guess,
man, I don't know that whipper here. That's right up there, buddy. That was class.
I mean, maybe the craziest thing I've ever done is in 2019. I actually went to Redbud for the amateur day, and I hit the leap on the 250. So that was pretty cool. Not many guys can say they've done that.
That's awesome. Hey, man, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you, Grant.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
All right. Next up, man, I'll tell you what, this guy, Tyler, man, he's a Wonder World Traveler, ISDE in Chile, 18, Portugal, 19, Italy, 21, France, 23, and Spain, 2024. Before we get started, let's roll a clip of this guy, man. Let's Let's see what he's got. Here we go. Get your popcorn, folks. Oh, he's off road. Look at that, man. Awesome. Bring back some old memories there, huh, Tyler?
Yeah, that was that's a cool video. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
You guys hear me okay?
Yeah, you got a little
Awesome.
echo, but
yeah, that was the first okay. That was my first video or first pro race win on the West Coast after I moved to Oregon. So definitely holds a little weight, and yeah, that was an awesome day for sure. Back on the two strokes.
you know, we were talking about all those places you've been overseas, man. How's racing overseas stack up to the US, bro?
It's completely different, honestly. Such a cool experience. You know, the ISDE is like a sprint style format. So it's going to be high paced, 5 to 15 minutes long for special tests. But then you're also on the bike for 8 hours a day. So it's an absolute grind.
Wow.
For 6 days straight. And yeah, we don't really have a good example of that type of racing, that style of racing here in the U.S. We normally either race for 3 hours long at a GNCC or race motocross type stuff like that, or GPs. So it's a totally different beast than what we're used to.
Now, on the ISDE, you still do your own tire changing and maintenance on your designated before or after the event, correct?
Yep, every day. So, so a little bit of a rundown. So, the race will start off at let's say 9 o'clock in the morning, and then you'll enter in and you'll get about 10 minutes of work period just to check over your bike. So that's adding gas or changing the filter really quickly, just minor stuff, just kind of prepping for the day. And then at the very end of the day, before you impound, because your bike is kept into basically a corral every single night. So you'll have 15 minutes to work on your bike in the evening as well. So come in and bang out two tire changes, front and rear, get some fresh tires on there. Generally, I could do those in about 7 minutes, front and rear.
Wow.
And then do a filter as well, some other minor stuff. But yeah, it's all crunch time for sure, and that's a huge practice that you got to get ready for as well. Not even just like the physical and mental side of racing. It's making sure you're pretty decent at your mechanic work.
Indiana, District 50, air goals, and discipline. You evolved all the way through to what you're doing. Diet. The first day you actually are almost like out of your mind, not out of your mind, but you're thinking, and that is so out of the box. How do you keep so focused? That is unbelievable.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, it's a grind. It's just as physical as it is mental. It's because you have to shut your brain off essentially for when you're racing in a special test. Or, I mean, yes, you have to shut your brain off, but you have to be firing on all cylinders. It's a high intensity experience. But the second you finish your special test, you kind of have to like decompress and kind of go into a reserve mode just to kind of get through the next transfer trail. So it's all about conservation and just like keeping a level head, like Grant was saying earlier, is not getting too wound up. And sometimes sometimes you'll have a crash or make a mistake in a special test and have to fight through it again and just put it behind you. It's a long race. It's 6 days long. So but with that being said, every second does count for sure.
You were talking about tires a little bit ago. What's the toughest ground that you've tackled? Chile's dust, Italy's rocks, or something else? Paint the picture for us, man.
Yeah, so good question. Every country, every ISDE that I've been to has its own challenges. Whether it's Spain, where it's raining every single day, just nonstop, because you're soaking wet, muddy, and then Portugal had literally every type of terrain you could imagine. So it was deep sand, like next to the coast. Up to some rocky, shaly kind of mountain tests, and then desert, fast, wide open, and then some high mountain mud. So I'd say Portugal is probably the most like physically grueling, and there were some examples where they had to cut out some trail and some sections because they were hauling bikes out in the middle of the night because people were just leaving them. They couldn't get through.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty gnarly. But man, I'd say the toughest, like mentally, was Chile, the first one, and yeah, it was our first time overseas. It was my girlfriend, my now wife, girlfriend at the time, both of our first times out of the country, and such a beautiful place, but also like third world in the same sense. Like, there's a lot of crime down in South America, so pretty sketchy. But in the middle of the week, on top of racing and everything, some locals broke into our rental car, and stole our passports. So
Oh no, not the passports.
yeah, there's a Chilean, Tyler and Allie, blonde hair, blue eyes, running around down in South Florida. They might have got the
I
golden
guarantee
ticket.
you could still say Chile better than him, man, because by the way I say it, it just don't hit right, man. You got that what to it. You got the Chile.
Yeah, that's that sauce. That's the sauce you get from the years of travel. So, but yeah, so that was in the middle of the race too. So that I finished the day, and I could tell my wife or Allie was something wasn't right. And then I was like, "What's going on?" And she's like, just broke down, and she's like, "Yeah, the passports were stolen. They, tires were getting slashed and stuff. It was just kind of crazy down there." But so we had to spend some time in the embassy just to make sure we got back on time and safely. So, but yeah, it's every year it's a new story. So it's really cool.
Wow.
Hey, let's jet back. You just won out in Idaho, the Idaho City Enduro. It's a 100 miler for the second time. You won 24 and 20. Now again in 25 last month. They treat you like a god out there now, or tell us about what that race is and how many people and what it means to you and just the overall culture of that event.
Yeah, so kind of like I was saying earlier, with we don't really have a whole lot of examples of ISDE formats here in the States. Well, that's probably the closest thing that we have, and that race in particular has a long history. It used to be an ISDE qualifier for, I think it was 20 years or something, and I think the last time they had it was in 2017. But yeah, like you said, it's 100 miles for 2 days, so 100 miles each day, and high mountain type. I mean, it's in Idaho. It's absolutely gorgeous. Mountain views. Snow-capped peaks all over, and you're racing as fast as you can, literally wide open through tight trail, and it's kind of sandy, so it reminds me a little bit of back home, like Michigan and northern Indiana. So I think I do pretty well in conditions like that. But yeah, this year was pretty special. I was able to win all the tests on day one, which I was pretty surprised on. Definitely had some adversity, but I mean, everyone did really, but came out swinging on day one, and then won day two as well. So it was a pretty commanding win, and I was pretty proud of that. There's some fast young talent, and it's always challenging. Like there's fast that's coming up every single year. The more age I put on, the more experience I gain. It's hard to kind of make sure that I am firing on all cylinders and keeping the intensity up. But man, it's a great way. I love the sport to just for that reason, just to kind of keep progressing and challenging myself to be better. So yeah.
Great answer.
Tyler, this kid's been waiting to meet you. He's my son, Landon, 9 years old. He's bouncing around like a BB in a beer. Well, Pepsi can. And we were gonna wait to the end of the show, but come on in here, son. Say hi to Tyler, man.
What's going on? How's it going?
Good.
Yeah. Did you get out and ride this weekend?
No, Landon doesn't ride yet. He just he plays the motocross video game, rides his bike and all that stuff, and pretends to be like certain riders and stuff like that. And we watch a lot of videos and stuff together. So
yeah. Well,
we'll get him out there though.
Love to kind of play along as well. So that's awesome.
Hey, don't say that. He'll be asking for your gamer tag and playing with, he created a Degan. He got them all because he's actually not on the 25 what is it called? Supercross? Yeah, Supercross on Xbox. And he made them look just like him, all the stuff, everything, man. And I just got the bike, everything. I'm like, wow, that's pretty good, kid.
Dude, the technology is so cool with the games that are coming out. Yeah, it's I used to play games all the time, and every time I fire up or see someone else playing it, it's like, gosh, it's changed so much for the better, and it feels real nowadays.
Well, yeah, you know what? Let me ask you that. This is off the what do you call it? Off the script type thing. Since we're right here on talking about video games, I've heard in the past NASCAR drivers actually will play like PlayStation game, and they said it helps like their memory, whatever. Have you ever heard, or have you ever looked at a track and has that helped you with that, or no?
I mean, not so much on the track itself, but definitely on like the how your brain processes and registers how quickly, like quick inputs and stuff. So I think that's the craziest thing about video games is it allows your brain to make these fast decisions essentially. And when you're racing on a bike, these are split millisecond decisions that you have to decide whether you're going to give a little more pressure on the outside of the peg or something like that. So and all these like internal mental decisions. So I think it's great for keeping your brain sharp for sure.
Before thanks for that answer. That was awesome. Before I hand it over to the pro, Larry, you got a question over there?
I was going to say,
questions? Are you good?
It's a lot different NASCAR.
You got a question?
Yeah,
go ahead.
NASCAR, they got the in-house look-alike tracks. With us, we this culture in that we haven't evolved like NASCAR has, but still, you do a lot of your homework, no doubt. But leading to my next question I have for you, Tyler, you're a rod, but man, we touched base on the mental side. In the 5th or 6th day of ISDE's your mind wanders, and you ever think about, well, am I good here? Where do you longevity and in this one, and also going to the training mode with kids? Give us your thoughts on that, buddy.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And to be honest, Larry, I think about that almost every time I'm going out for a race. I mean, I'm not old by any means. I'm 29, but the thing is, I still feel like I'm getting better every year. I'm getting more consistent, and I'm just honing my skills a little bit more. So, yeah, it's a mental grind. Like right now, it's a pretty good time in our lives. Like my wife and we're on the same page, but we do want kids. So there's something in the future there. There's a little carrot dangling. It's like I can't quote unquote live a selfish lifestyle, because it is very selfish to be kind of at this level and to put as much training as it goes in as you put into it. But I mean, we're still making progress towards our goals, personal goals. So as long as I can kind of balance the two, I want to be competitive. I'm a super ultra competitive person when it comes down to it. Whether it's I grew up running competitively in track and cross country, and once I decided I didn't want to do that anymore, I really focused on racing. So I feel like there's always going to be something that I need to like focus my physical, mental capacity on. So, but as far as like racing, like I'd love to go to the 6 days, 1, 2 more times, couple more times or so if I can. Next year is going to be the 100th anniversary, so which is a huge milestone for the ISDE. So I think that's the next on the list. So that's what we're setting our goals for.
Yeah, that was what I was going to ask you about, the 5 countries down, where your next spot was and where you love to race. So I'm glad you hit that, because I was curious. I was waiting, man. So
that's some good stuff.
But I do want to ask you, for riders eyeing the ISDE, what's the secret to shining on the global stage? What's something that you can give them to kind of help them, stay balanced and have a competitive, edge about them?
Yeah, it's pretty unique. Like I said, we don't really have great examples, but there's a couple series on the East Coast called the US Sprint Enduro series, and then the Full Gas Sprint Enduro series. They do a pretty good job at mimicking special test racing. They'll have 6 special tests throughout the day, all high intensity. And Billy Schlag, I'll give him a shout out. He runs the US Sprint Enduro series. He's going to be hopefully expanding here in the future. But it's hitting the intervals, right? Like everyone talks about interval training and like high type stuff. And so my training program, whenever I prepare to go, is I hit moto track. I'm doing sprints on the moto track, 5-lap sprints type thing. I'll go to grass track fields. I'll go to enduro tests, just private property for the most part, and really just like hone in my skills as much as I can on all terrain, because you never really know what you're going to expect to get. You don't know what to expect when you go to ISDE. So my biggest thing and what I would recommend is just making sure you're prepared for anything. Like don't have a setup that does really well in one scenario, but more so have like a well-rounded kind of middle of the line setup, and yeah, just that'll get you through somewhere for sure.
Any special shout outs that you got today before we close it out?
Yeah. I mean, shout out to my parents, Leslie and Greg. They're my number one supporters. They're back home, 2,500 miles away on the other side of the country. It's tough being away, but love and miss them so much. And yeah, I've got a great support system this year with Motorsport Hillsboro. All the guys down there really take care of me. Yeah, just giving me a great platform, a great bike to race on. I've racing on a 350 this year. So it's like my first 4-stroke that I've really kind of dialed in. So, and I'll just say it changes the game for sure. These bikes are incredible. Like I can't believe how far KTM has come and just building a bulletproof motorcycle. So yeah, and shout out to my wife, shout out to you guys. I wish, Jeff and what Whiskey Throttle, what those guys are doing on their podcast and their media side of things is incredible for the sport. It's growing, and they're dabbling in off-road, which I think is a huge opportunity for us to kind of showcase what we do. I love following everything. So keep it up, guys.
All right.
Larry, you want to close it up for us, brother?
Sure, buddy. Man, Jeff, Grant, and Tyler, the best luck. The sport is moving so fast. I mean, Whiskey Throttle, Grant's pro career, he's hauling butt. And Tyler, we wish you the best of luck in off-road. Guys, closing remarks. What do you think? One of you guys, just a quick line of your future. Jeff, you go with us?
I think. Let me see. No, Jeff took off. Yeah.
Grant.
Yeah, we got Tyler left.
Yeah, Tyler, gives you your last thoughts. What a great career you've had already, and here's your thoughts on that.
Oh man, I think the future is pretty bright for the sport. I think more kids on motorcycles, more kids on bikes is a good thing. So I think what Dee's doing, growing the sport is fantastic, and same with Jet Lawrence. And we were just actually just talking about it today. I was doing some motos with some friends, and just like admiring Jet's skill and talent. I think it's great to be teaching kids what the importance is of good technique. So we've got some great role models in the sport right now. I'm excited to see where this takes off to.
Great answer. Bring it home, buddy. Tracks.
Hey man, what a ride tonight. Like you said, I couldn't say it any better. Big thanks to Jeff, Grant, and Tyler for bringing your guys' A game. Loved it, guys. If everybody loved it, smash that like button, subscribe, and catch us every Monday for more Moto Mondays, man, with Larry the Legend and your guy Tracks. So like I said, we're live Mondays at 7:30 p.m. Central on Chicago Sports Podcast, YouTube, and next week, gear and tech up your ride, man. See you guys in the dirt.
Rob.
Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.